Thank you, guys. Yes, I'm blessed to be here, as we all are. Yeah, newsflash: property management has always been something that has been, um, a very hot topic, and will always continue to be a hot topic. But I want to talk about property management, not only the business model, but how licensed real estate professionals, in my opinion, should position their license to not only uh, build property management companies, scale property management companies, but ultimately really participate in ownership of these investment properties instead of just creating these commission-based models where you create, buy, sell, receive a commission, and then it's on to the next. I want you guys to have an equity stake. And so that's what we're going to speak about today. And I have the impossible task of talking about building a property management business and the models and the systems and the skill sets in less than 60 minutes. So, which is virtually impossible, but I'm going to give it a run. And without that being, with that being said, I'm going to share my screen and let me know if everybody can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. So, Miss Karen, if you don't mind putting in the chat, if you guys want to follow along with me, if you guys want to follow, if you guys want to follow along with me, you can go log into Buy It, Rent It, Profit into the platform that I'm about to show you. Thanks to YPN and the Miami Association of Realtors and our other affiliates, everyone's going to have a 4-hour pass. So if you're driving or you're not in front of your computer right now, don't worry. When you log into this website, you will have a 4-hour full access pass to everything that I'm about to show you. The vast majority of courses, tons of courses on this platform are free anyway to you. So you can access them, but all the tools and resources and the property analyzer, all the things I'm going to show you as tools, you guys are going to have access to. So thank YPN for that, and Kevin. And if everybody can see my screen, just say yes or send a nod. I can't see you because I only see my screen. So if you guys if I can get some yeses that we see my screen, I'll continue to move on.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. All right. So if you want to log in, you'll see the link. You can log in, follow along with me, go to all the various different areas on the platform that I'm about to take you to. If not, like I said, don't worry. You're going to have a 4-hour pass to be able to log in on your own time later on this evening or whenever you're in front of your computer or phone. You can also access the platform from your phone or any kind of iPad or device. Okay. A little bit about me. I was hoping that Kevin would do more because I hate talking about myself. But ultimately, if you've been in any bookstore in the past decade, then you've obviously come across my book, Buy It, Rent It, Profit. You can see it in this photograph. I think this was Barnes and Nobles, but you can go in any bookstore globally and find Buy It, Rent It, Profit. It's a bestseller. One of the cool things about the book that it's one of 5 books in the U.S. Library of Congress on the topic and subject of property management and real estate investing. So I think that's, for me, I think it's pretty cool. It didn't come with a check or any kind of plaque or anything, but I was assured that when you're in the U.S. Library of Congress, that the knowledge and the content that you have is something that the government actually deems very important and useful to the nation. So I guess what we're going to talk about is of very high importance, high enough importance to put us in the U.S. Library of Congress about what we're going to talk about today. So let's jump right into it. Again, we're on a 90-minute clock, so I'm going to do my best, guys, to move through. If you got questions, too, just some house cleaning. I got some of my affiliates are here. My landlord tenant eviction attorney, Jonathan, is here. Greg, one of our instructors, is here. Miss Karen is here. If you have questions, we have team members that you can put in the chat. They'll flag those questions for me. If I cannot get to them today, I promise you we will get to those within the next few days. And then also next week, guys, I am going to next week I'm going to be teaching a class or a Q&A follow-up to this particular class. So we will do a Q&A follow-up to this class, and I will there answer any questions that you guys may have. Spend the whole entire hour and a half or until all the questions have been answered on that call next Thursday, 8 p.m. Most recent project that I did was downtown St. Pete, utilizing these very same techniques. that I'm going to show you, and the business model that I'm going to share with you guys. Downtown St. Pete, obviously, we all know is a really hot market. Multifamily is my specialty. That's what my fund acquires. Bought this at 2.6, sold it for 4.6. 3 years later, even through a pandemic, got there before the pier was built. As you can see, the pier is missing right there. If you know anything about St. Pete and the huge pier that was built, got there beforehand. As soon as I bought it, 2 days later, the owners came back and wanted to buy the property back from me because they figured out the pier was coming in. But, obviously, because one of us does our strategic evaluation of a target area, I was prepared and understood what was coming by forecasting. We'll talk about that. But my returns were infinite on this project. So I put no money in. What I did was bring my skill sets to the table, the very same skill sets that all you guys possess as a licensed real estate professional. I just positioned myself to have a percentage of equity in every deal that I put together. And that's really where I want you guys to kind of focus at the end of the day. Is this is all for one reason or one purpose, and that is for you to have an equity stake. So you can cash checks like this. You can have ownership in an asset like this. So that is what, to me, what the ultimate goal is. And again, I want you guys to transition from just a commission-based model to a cash flow model. Now, real quick, you can download materials. If you're following along with me, download these materials, because a certain section of this course, you're going to need to have these materials. And again, if you're driving, I understand you don't have to put in the chat. I fully understand if you're driving, you got to come back to this. That's fine. These materials will be here. We can even email them to you, but everyone will have a free pass to access this. And even if the 4-hour pass wears off, this is a free course within our platform. So you can go in at any time and download these materials, but they're very important to this because they're going to include some scripts. They're going to include some case studies. They're going to include checklists. They're going to include workbooks on some various subjects that I'm going to talk about your pipeline. But I don't want to give it all away, but just make sure you go back in and download those materials. You can see here where you can download them. Okay, you just click on materials and begin to download. Okay, I'm inside the presentation. Miss Karen just posted a way to get to the presentation. You click on courses. So you would just go real quick before we get started. You go to the dashboard, go to my community, click on courses. And once you click on courses, you'll see on page 6, you'll see the drop down menu. You click on business, property management businesses, and then click on page 6 and it'll take you right to this course. Okay, there's a step-by-step inside there, inside the chat, that will help you get there. So with all that being said, if there's no questions, I'll jump right on in. So there's going to be 4 frameworks that we're going to discuss. 4 frameworks, if you're taking notes. First framework is called the CIOTA framework, Strategic Evaluation of Target Area. It's a skill set framework. So it's a set of skills that you're going to need to develop to be able to implement the CIOTA process, the Strategic Evaluation of Target Area process. This process is how I find properties that owners own that have no clue how valuable they really are, and able to swoop in and buy and negotiate a deal when someone has no clue that a pier, $1 billion pier, is coming, a year or 2 away from being built, a block away from their apartment building. It's because I performed the CIOTA. It's one of the reasons why, again, you're skating to where the puck is going. You're not being not being reactive, you're being proactive. So the process of this is understanding how to evaluate building permit activity. Okay, so the building permit activity, scrutinizing building permit activity, is going to allow me to understand what developments are coming. It allows me to not just look at current values, but understand and forecast where I think values are headed. One of the key indicators is whether or not I have confidence in a certain area by looking at the building permit activity. It gives me, again, like I said, there's no crystal ball, but this gets me close. Then I'm evaluating employment. Employment is the greatest indicator of net operating income, current and future. If you really want to forecast net operating income, then understand how to forecast employment, understand how to evaluate employment. Employment is extremely important to me. Then average household size. Average household size is something else, a key indicator that's very important, because I got to know what to buy. What type of unit mix? If I'm buying in areas where the average family size is 3.7, 4.5, I'm not looking for a bunch of studio apartments. I'm not asking for a realtor to a licensed real estate professional to be showing me a bunch of studio units. I want to look at ones and twos and threes. I want to see a unit mix that's conducive to the average household size in that particular area. That's kind of how I try to back into properties and assets that I can reduce the amount of vacancy, right off the bat. So then you look at something called demographics and psychographics. Demographics tells you who. Psychographics tells you why. Just think of Walmart. You can go from one side of a county to another side of a county, and the items on the shelves of that Walmart will be different because they're catering to a different demographic. That's exactly the same thing we do. So if it's important for that particular Walmart to stock their shelves with the items that are according to that particular demographic within that zip code area. Same thing when I'm looking and evaluating properties and setting up property profiles, I'm understanding the demographics and psychographics of my prospect tenant. I'm trying to figure out and anticipate in advance what they're going to need, whether it be amenities, unit type, class type. The demographics and psychographics are so important to understanding. That is the most important thing for you to understand is the prospect tenants, demographics and psychographics, understanding using the CIOTA information to identify who your prospect tenant is, then go out and find an asset that matches that prospect tenant's demographics and psychographic profile. Hopefully that makes sense. Not the building first. So much is these boot camps and trainings and gurus. There's a new guru every week on social media. It's like, it's TV shows, building, asset. And that's not, at least when you're buying rental property, multifamily or investment property, that's not what you're doing. Buildings don't pay rent, people pay rent. You're understanding who your prospect tenant is. Once you identify the prospect tenant's demographics and psychographics, then you go find a building to fit that asset. Anything else is backwards. Then you're looking at mortgage rates. You're looking at rental rates, occupancy rates. All these things are allowing me to gauge and understand where the current prospect tenant is now and where I think they're headed, where I think net operating income is now and where I think it's headed, where I think occupancy rates are now and where I think it's headed. All this information is so vital. All this CIOTA information is vital, and you'll see how it bleeds into the other as an ecosystem, how it moves into the next section. But once you've gathered all your CIOTA information, and once you've compiled this information, then you're going to have an idea. You're going to have an avatar of a prospect, a tenant, and then what you're going to do is you're going to start going and looking for assets that fit that demographic profile. Okay. And my apologies that my internet is so slow. I have no idea why it's so slow, but of course, on a day like this today, it's going to be slow and move extremely slow. So if anybody has any actual questions, feel free. I cannot see the chat right now, but feel free to ask away. All right, you can change at any day. All right. Okay, hopefully it picks up. So now we're on to the next, which is the 5 phases. This is the next framework that we must have. This is not a skill framework. This is a business model framework. So now I create business models around these 5 phases: acquisition, implementation, stabilization, growth, and exit strategy. The 2 that you must get right is the acquisition and the implementation phase. The acquisition phase, guys, is extremely important. It's creating the business model and systems around this is extremely important. It's going to be 2 things that you're going to focus on in the acquisition phase. You're going to be focusing on the underwriting and the analysis of the investment property. And you guys have taken your brokers and real estate license and come across Some of you might be selling investment property right now, kind of moving into that residential world where you're evaluating and underwriting deals right now. That is what a portion of the acquisition phase is all about. So you need the right business models and systems to help you accomplish that. But then there's a second part that is really often not talked about and will separate you as a property manager and asset manager and bring tremendous amount of value to your clients. And that's the management plan. The management plan needs to be created at the same time that the property is actually being underwritten. So you have the management plan being developed and you have the underwriting being developed at the same time. So when you buy and acquire the property on day one, that management plan is going to dictate how day-to-day operations are being done daily. And I'll explain that as we move forward. Then you have the implementation. The implementation is extremely important because it's implementing two types of systems, your technology systems and your operating systems. So your operating systems are your operations manuals that are going to tell you how to manage and run that property, which the property managers are going to use 7 days for 5, 6 days a week, however long you're open. Some operations are open 7 days a week. However long, it's going to tell you how to run that property, from all the systems to qualifying tenants, to moving tenants in, to dealing with them during their residency, to systems for the maintenance, for moving in, for the evicting, the moving out, everything in between. That's your implementation and your operations manual. Then you have your technology systems, which typically are your property management software. Your property management software integrates with your operations, and then your operations are being governed, being overseen by your management plan that you created. Remember, during the acquisition phase. And what influences that management plan? All the information that you gathered in the COTA process heavily influences the creation of that management plan. Identifying the prospect tenant, identifying the property. All that management plan is going to identify how you manage and trickle down into the day-to-day operations and how the property manager is managing that asset. The operations are going to dictate how the dashboard reports are created, the weekly reports, the monthly reports, and the annual reports. Weekly reports will look like, your dashboard reports will have your rent roll, will have your renewal, will have your delinquency, your maintenance report, your traffic, your unit traffic reports. All these things you're looking at. And then when you're noticing things that need to be changed, when you're seeing things that let's say renewals are slowing down or there's delinquencies are rising, then you're able to make adjustments. You're able to make adjustments before these become major issues. So you might even have to make changes to the management plan because these become issues. Things like when COVID hit, I had to make major changes to the management plan because I had to change the way I qualified and the qualifying criteria had to change. How long you were on the job, what your job, all that had to change in my qualifying criteria. But I'm able to do it. I'm able to spot issues and problems when I've seen upticks in occupancy and when I've seen upticks in unemployment rates and various different things in my market. I was able to make those changes. But by keeping my finger on the pulse, it's not difficult. You have the systems in place. And then stabilization, growth, and exit strategy, guys. First of all, stabilization is a myth. No property is ever stabilized. You're just one maintenance issue, couple of delinquencies and eviction away from things falling apart. So it's always a balancing act. Always a balancing act, that stabilization. Okay, so you're always juggling the property and keeping the balls in the air, doing what you need to do because things change on a whim. So stabilization is really important, but it's a direct result of having the acquisition and the implementation models and systems in place and running smoothly. Then you can have a property stabilized. Then you can work on stabilizing the property. And then from there, you work on growing the net operating income. And then you work on an exit strategy. And then it's typically rinse and repeat, if that makes sense. Does anyone have any questions? As we wait to
No.
go. Oh, got a question? Go ahead.
No, I didn't have a question. I was just saying
okay.
no.
All right, perfect. So now, focusing on the implementation, just kind of giving you a picture, because I'm about to take you and show you resources within the platform. But one thing that I try to make sure I teach my team is I don't want you guys to become reliant on the platform, the analyzing platform, to do all the work for you. Because when things go wrong, the deal analyzer can't troubleshoot. A good asset manager can troubleshoot because they understand how the DNA strand of an investment property, and I'll explain. And most of you have all been introduced to the DNA strand. So it's very important. The DNA strand for me is the lifeline of any investment property, and it changes from property to property depending on where the property is located, the asset class, whether it be A, B, or C. It changes. But the DNA strand is the gross potential income minus the vacancy will equal your effective gross income plus any other income the property can obtain, parking, washer and dryers, etc., will equal your gross operating income. All the income the property can produce to pay down the expenses, OE, operating expenses, will equal your net operating income. The lifeline, the bloodline of your investment property is the NOI, okay? What makes up 99.9% of rent? Net operating income. Who pays rent? That prospect, tenant, demographic, and psychographic. That's why I'm telling you that CIOTA process is so important, that you understand who your prospect tenant is, because it's going to come back and bite you in the butt if you're guessing. If you're just guessing and you're just going with the flow like everyone else is doing and buying and investing, it can come back to haunt you. You must understand, because it affects the net operating income, especially with mid-size and small apartment units. You know, that net operating income is primarily driven, again, 99.9% by the rent. And you must know who your prospect tenant, what affects those individuals, okay? And so that CIOTA information is really important. And then minus the reserve for replacements and minus debt service will equal your before-tax cash flow. And then while you're doing this, you're creating your management plan. And a management plan is a detailed, it's almost like a business plan for the particular property. Easiest way to explain it, it mimics a business plan. It's very top heavy in operations. It's 50% operations, 50% budget. Some might have it 80% budget, 20% operations, depending on the company you worked for, or, you know, kind of where your strong suit. But ideally, you want it to be about 50-50. 50-50 focused on operations, 50 on the budget, the operating budget of the property. So you know day one when you enter in, you're running on a budget. That's the management plan. It's going to dictate the operations in that procedures manual that we talked about. So the management plan and understanding the DNA strand of this particular investment property and all of your investment properties is going to be important. Then you have your implementation systems. Your implementation systems, now we talked about acquisition, now we're at the implementation. The implementation systems are really important. This is your operations manual that we talked about. Again, procedures manual, operations manual, and your technology systems, i.e. your property management software. These come together. These come together, and they are what is going to run the property day to day. Not a bunch of forms, not a bunch of, you know, procedures manuals. Operating procedures manuals are extremely important. Not many people can be honest with themselves and say, hey, listen, my property is not only run by a management plan, but I also have a procedures manual for my operations. Because trust me, if you're ever sued, they're not asking you about your forms. They're not asking you about your real estate license. They're going to ask you to produce your procedures and your operations manuals. And what a creditor typically is trying to do is prove you don't have a business, so they don't have to insure you. So you want to make sure that you're operating and running like a business with procedures manuals, operations manuals, okay? Not just leaning on the technology and property management systems, but you also want to lean on those procedures manuals, okay? Those are your two types of systems. Now what I want to do, if you allow me, I am going to, so if you're at our property, if you're at the platform My Community section, you can come to the My Community section. In this section, you'll be able to find latest blogs, and you're able to see who's doing what deals are being done. You're able to connect with individuals, but more importantly, you're able to come here and you're able to go to My Workstation, okay? You're able to join groups, discussion forums. You're able to go to My Courses, okay? I'm going to go to our tools and our resources dashboard. That's what this looks like. Here, you're able to, in 90 days, we're excited about, you'll be able to manage property. So we have property management software built in. You're able to access tools and resources, documents, forms, contracts, manuals, templates, spreadsheets, you name it. You're also able to go in and you're able to perform all of the things that I just talked about, that COTA process, okay? What does that COTA process look like? So you're able to go to that dashboard and click on city data. This is the poor man's version of grabbing data. So this is free. Going right onto that dashboard and clicking on city data, put in any zip code, and you're going to get a breakdown of everything I require within my COTA. Drive time to work, employment, average household size. I mean, it's taxes. It's crazy how detailed, when you type in a zip code, how detailed this gets. And look over to the right-hand side. Look how much you can keep scrolling. Look at all this data. And this is free. Distributions of house, zip code, types of houses, income per house, all the data you want, you can grab and obtain there. Then you can also go back to the dashboard and you can click on Crexi. Crexi is a paid subscription, but it's also free. And I've already pulled up. You can see I pulled up my area, and it will pull up all the units that are for sale. You can also pay their subscription, and there's a way to show the median income in those areas, the traffic count in those areas, points of interest in those areas, population density in those areas. You can see, which is pretty cool. But that's how you can grab a lot of your COTA information. Then for anyone that visits our site can come in and do a back of the envelope, which is evaluation. If you need to do quick evaluations, you can always come here and use this calculator. Okay. Then for those, everyone's going to have a 4-hour pass to come in and actually use. When you click on detail, everyone's going to have a 4-hour pass. This is what my team uses to analyze deals, whether it's a home office, retail, multifamily, or mixed use or industrial. Okay. You'll follow the steps. You just put in the information about the property. Then the next step is as you can see here, you can build out. Doesn't matter the unit type, you can build it out. For the sake of this, I built out an apartment building that had, 2 studios, 2 1-bedrooms, 2 2-bedrooms, the pricing, square footage. Then it calculates the income for me right away. Then step 3 is calculating the expenses. You can say, man, I just need to do a quick back of the envelope real fast, throw in the percentage, 48%, and then it's going to give you the annual expenses. However, if you're doing a detailed underwriting, then you're going to go ahead and put in the details from the T12s in this section. And if you see a section that an area that you don't see, you just click on this plus sign and you add your expense right here. Add your expense, add your expense. So you can add, expenses to the properties that are not already populated that you don't see. Okay. Then you get to value. So you can get to this point, slide the scale. No, I only want to pay a 9% cap rate. You can slide it back and forth, and then it's going to show you those values by sliding the cap rate meter back and forth. On this right-hand side, it's going to build out your dashboard. You can share this with your lender. You can share this with your investor clients. And they can come along and join you right alongside you and work this model at the same time. Then you'll just come in here and push your debt, put all your debt requirement in here. You'll go to the next step. And then now you can make any adjustments or edits that you want. If you're happy with everything, then you do your pro forma adjustments. And then if you're happy with your pro forma adjustments, then now you have detailed reports. Typically, as licensed real estate professionals, I'm doing this for clients. I'm offering this as a service. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but there's so many different ways you can offer this as a service, or like I said, position yourself at the table, have a seat at the owner's table. You can share the documents. Typically what happens is we will download the documents and drop them in our offering memorandum, and then we put that out to market with our fund, and we raise money for the deals. These reports go right into the offering memorandum. You can share these reports with your lender. You can share these reports with your investor clients, you name it. You can drop it in the offering memorandum if you're listing it. So multiple things that you guys can do and should do. Any questions? I think I'm making really good time. Any questions? Okay. So now this is the third framework. This is probably the framework that's going to require the most concentration, the most build out, the most time. This is creating your network. It's called the Great 8 Network Management Framework. Okay, that's a mouthful, but it makes sense. Trust me when I tell you, as we get through this, it'll make a lot of sense to you. You've got to focus on developing a network, okay? That's why I created these workbooks you'll see here. These workbooks are specific to this particular section that I'm going to talk about. Everyone has access to these workbooks. Please get these workbooks because you'll see how important. Once you download a workbook, you'll have links. So all you have to do is click anything in red, highlighted in red. Those are actual hyperlinks that will either take you to a course on the topic, take you to additional training material, take you to a group where you can ask questions, or take you to the dashboard, the workstation that I just left, and take you to an area where you can find the document, find the spreadsheet or whatever, find the form immediately, all just by clicking the workbook. So these workbooks are real important. If I were you, I wouldn't print them out. I would only save them as PDFs so you can use the hyperlinks, if that makes sense. Okay? So you can find them here. That's what those workbooks will look like. Okay? Now, the grade 8, these workbooks are going to focus on 8 key, I'll say network pipelines. Commercial brokers, local banks and lenders, owners of mom and pop, local municipalities, public housing authorities, meetups, RIAs, and training classes put on by you. Let's talk about the first real quick, commercial brokers. The workbook is going to really talk to you about how to reach out to commercial brokers who are, let's just say, selling multifamily, right? You want to get into the multifamily. You want to start reaching out to the CBRE, the Franklin Street, right? The Marks and Millichap. You want to reach out to those individual brokers, have coffee with them, find out what's going on, let them know, hey, look, you're serious. So when there's a deal, before it gets to market, I get the phone calls weeks in advance, my team, of deals that are going to, that Marks and Millichap, CBRE are going to announce well before they come to the market. So that's the kind of relationships you want to work on. So we have scripts, we have case studies in the workbook that talk to you and show you and help you. Then we have the next workbook is on working with local lenders and banks. How to work with banks. Right now, receivership. Receivership is what I want you guys to focus on. So the workbook's going to talk about receivership. Receivership is a receiver is appointed by the court system. When a bank forecloses, you want to develop relationships with banks. You want to let them know that, hey, listen, when you have, or if you know of another bank that needs a great receiver, I'm your individual, I'm your person, I'm your guy, I'm your gal. I am the individual you want to call. I will come in and swoop in. What a receiver does, they're appointed by the court to take over on behalf of the bank, to take over the management. I have acquired many great deals and generated tons of cash by simply being the receiver. Step in, begin to turn the property around for the bank, but while in the meantime, I'm negotiating directly with the bank, sometimes owner financing, where I'll deal directly with the bank and take over the property as is without putting any money out of my own pocket, taking over. Sometimes I'll bring in equity partners, take over. But now I'm dealing with the bank directly, all because I was in a position of receivership. So receivership is an awesome position. So this workbook that you'll download is going to teach you about receivership. What is receivership? It's going to give you a checklist on what receivers do day one when they step on the property, so you can start working on building your models and your systems. Then it's going to give you links to other tools, resources, and trainings within the platform that you guys are going to be able to help develop your business systems and the models around. One other thing that I want to show, I got two ahead of myself, is all of the systems. When I keep referring to the systems, when you go to your dashboard, when you come to your dashboard here, guys, when you click on tools and resources, you're going to pull up, whether you're a beginner, you'll be able to pull up all types of workbooks, resources, and trainings. Whether you're a licensed real estate professional, same thing. Whether you're experienced, same thing. Tons of workbooks and trainings, and a lot of the workbooks that you're going to download from today's class will point you directly to some of these ebooks, workbooks, and training materials, as well as case studies, okay? Then I keep talking about business systems and operations manuals. You can come here, hit this, click, and now you got an operations manual you can download. If you're needing an asset management, business models, you can come click that. Hit Instant Office. It gives you all of the forms and documents and contracts you need to run that business model. Oh, but Brian, I also need property management forms that fit this particular model. Perfect. All your operations forms, all of your stuff is right here. Any kind of form you can think of that's specific. And I know as licensed real estate professionals, we are blessed to be able to pick up forms in a lot of different places. These are specific to, again, you building your framework, your business model that we have. So you have an unlimited amount, as you can see here. I can spend another hour and a half just on all the forms and documents you guys can download for your business. So you have everything you need for your business, as well as the most recent operations manual. If you hit the manual with all of its forms and documents ready to go, you've got all the spreadsheets you need. So if you're doing a due diligence, Brian, I'm evaluating a property like tomorrow, man, I got a client, 30-unit apartment building. Good. Download that inspection form. Download that due diligence spreadsheet. It's going to tell you step by step what to evaluate, how to do a forensic audit on the leases, on all the vendor contracts, how to go through each unit step by step with your maintenance guy or your contractor, how to evaluate, depending on the size of the property, the staff, how to do everything you need. Budget spreadsheets, you got them. Okay. Again, more documents and forms for your business. And then we have our legal and tax forms on the right-hand side. We'll talk more about this and why this is so important. And I'll let our affiliate, Prime Corporate Services, kind of speak to you guys about this. Any kind of checklists you need, they're available here. You just click on checklist. You got all your checklists by topic. Okay. Leadership, building a team. We've got those type of workbooks and training materials as well. Everything you guys need to be successful. So if I mention something, it's here. You have access to it. So there's no excuse. None whatsoever. There's no excuse from you guys doing exactly what it is I've done and what a lot of individuals are doing. You have all the resources now. You have all the talent at your fingertips. You are talented. You are licensed real estate professionals. You have the resources at your fingertips. So now we're focusing on these networks, okay? We're building those relationships. Let's go into local municipalities. Why I say local municipalities. Right now, housing is a crisis. Across the nation is a crisis. And so now a lot of government agencies, local municipalities, are doing a request for proposal to developers. They are bringing in what is essentially grant money. They're bringing in grant money, guys. They're paying for acquisition costs. They're paying for we just submitted one ourselves. They're paying for acquisition. They're paying for development. Okay. Out of the ground, they're paying for acquisition. They're paying for rehab. And these are 0% interest. All you have to do is donate a percentage of your rent schedules to their AMI, adjusted median income requirements, and make it affordable housing. If you can make those numbers work, they'll back you financially. They'll back you financially. Tremendous amount of opportunity and value there. Then the next is housing authorities, public housing authorities. You got to get to your public housing authorities, guys. You've got to reach your local public housing authorities. Every municipality has one, okay? Miami-Dade, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Orlando, Kissimmee, Lakeland, Bartow, Utah, California. No matter where you are, every city, every municipality has public housing authorities. Get to know them. Get to know the Section 8 department. Reach out, work with them, offer trainings, get the email list of all of these Section 8 landlords, build relationships with them. This is your off-market pipeline. This is how you're going to find out where the off-market deals are, who's in trouble, who wants to sell, where are the opportunities of doing owner financing. Tremendous amount of opportunity, especially with the Public Housing Authority and the Section 8 model, because a lot of these individuals are allowing the properties to run them. They're not running their property. And so they're like, oh my God, this is such a headache. I went to this boot camp, I read this book, and I thought this was going to be so easy, and it's not. They're tearing up my place, and it's a perfect opportunity. Hey, listen, I can either manage it or, I can offer you a little something, and you let me take first position. Let's do it. Let me take over financing. However that looks, the owner financing, however model you want to use, the workbook that you have is going to give you case studies and scenarios and scripts on how to speak to these owners. Okay? Because this is where you're going to find a ton of off-market deals for your pipeline. Then meetups, having meetups. You don't just join meetups, create your own meetup. You want to have meetups where people can find you, they can connect with you. As you're starting to build these network pipelines, people will start wanting to seek you out. You'll need to be visible. It's great to be visible on Instagram. It's great to be visible on Facebook, but being visible in person and having a meeting point is really extremely powerful. And then, if you want to be the type to offer educational content or just simple meetups, it's up to you. But then RIAs, reaching out to local real estate investment clubs, and then offering your own training for both of them. We have trainings within this platform. All you got to do is download the training material and you can study it. There's an instructor's manual, and then there's a PowerPoint presentation, and then there's typically a participant guide. You can start teaching your own webinars, start teaching at RIAs, but getting yourself out there teaching. There's enough gurus. There's enough people standing in front of Instagram, out in front of their buildings. People are getting tired of that. They're wanting to come back to the fundamentals of education and training. No person better than a licensed real estate professional to stand up. We're seeing enough of the gurus talking about how to get rich and this or that. It's time for our licensed real estate professionals who are studied, who have a license, to stand up, to be known, to show themselves, to have a seat at the table, okay? And having that seat at the table is so important. So important. That's what this is really all about. So once you start developing this networking pipeline, then you're going to want those networking pipelines. You're going to want those pipelines to feed into your opportunity pipeline. And then your opportunity pipeline will start spitting out deal flow, as you can see here. So you have your business model that we're working on, right? Then you have your opportunity pipeline. The networking pipeline we just talked about feeds into this side of the opportunity pipeline. Then you have your property management business, which is, like I said, this you might have an existing one right now. You're going to bolt on some of this, what I've just talked about, onto your existing. If you're starting from scratch, you're going to have your property management company. You're going to bolt on these existing models that we just talked about, these four scale frameworks onto your existing property management, or you're going to start from scratch. And then your goal is to get to the scaling point. From scaling, then our goal is to get to the ownership, as you see here on this meter, and have ownership and deals coming out of this of our pipeline. Okay. Once you can do that, once you've created this business model, we call it the PM Plus, Property Management Plus business model. Once you've created that, now you can stop just basing what you do on commissions, because now your bag's got a hole in it. When your business model is just commission based, or you're just receiving a management fee, you're leaving money on the table. Your bag's got a big hole in it. Your opportunity that's not what we're doing this for. We want equity. We want a sliver. And listen, man, we don't have to be greedy. I'm asking for 10%. Most of our investor clients want us to have this 10%. Take 10% out of 10 deals, and you have 100% of something without ever putting your own money in it. That is the ultimate play, guys. That is the ultimate play. And it will all come together when you have all these pieces, the problem is we have various different pieces. We got this piece of the puzzle, but not this piece. We got this piece, but not this piece. You want the pieces to come together, these frameworks that we talked about to come together to create yourself a business model. Okay? A business model. One that is going to lead you out of just a commission-based driven model, which commissions are great. That's great. But this is going to lead you in using your property management business. It's going to allow you to create a cash flow opportunity and an equity position opportunity. And ultimately, guys, we're doing this because we want to sit at the table. We want ownership. We want ownership. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. I'll say that again. There is a difference between being rich and being wealthy. And I think we can all agree on that. I'm talking about wealth building for yourself and for your family. Okay? I'm not talking about things that I've heard or read or been a part of at a boot camp. I'm telling you what I've done, not what I've heard. Okay? So that I've got a couple more minutes, so I just want to reiterate a few things before I turn it back over to our YPN family. I want to reiterate that these courses and many courses within our site, you do not have to be a member, okay? You do not have to be a member to take a look at. There's tons of free courses on this platform. There's tons of free documents, forms, contracts. It's like I say, look, you can see the categories, the many categories that we have. Okay? Tons of categories, tons of courses. Couple of things that I want you to do. Come in here. Like I said, you're gonna have 4 hours to rip and run through this whole thing. Go in the deal, the workstation, the dashboard. Grab you some case studies, or if you got deals that you're working on, go in and use the deal analyzer and analyze those deals. Print out those reports. Have fun. Communicate with some of the people inside the community. But a couple of things I want you to do. First thing I want you to do is schedule an appointment, okay? Everyone here is going to get a free 30-minute strategy call with me. It will be with me, not a team member of mine, it's with me. If you're wanting to learn more and move forward in this direction, there's a free 30-minute call that you have with me, a strategy call where we talk about where you are personally in your business, where you are right now, how to get you to where you want to be. The second call that I'm going to ask you to do is with our affiliate partner, Prime Corporate Services, because all this has to come together. We have to have corporate entity structures in place and understand the correct accounting frameworks to put with each of these corporate structures in order to maximize the most we can out of these investments for ourselves and for our clients. And so that second call, I'll let Tommy, if you are available, can unmute yourself. I'll let Tommy explain from Prime Corporate Service what that call is going to entail. But that again,
awesome.
That these are free. These are gifts from YPN to you guys to utilize. Go ahead, Tommy.
For sure. Thank you, Brian. Great work. I will reiterate what Brian said with that deal analyzer as well. I was messing around with it and plugged it into a couple of deals that I already have in place. I challenge all of you to just use that deal analyzer. It's really cool to see what you thought it would be in comparison to what it actually is when you really analyze it. So, my name is Tommy Thornburg. I'm the president of Prime Corporate Services. I have known Brian, Karen, Greg for a long time. Brian and I are, the whole team. We're friends. We've been working together for quite a while. They've been out to our headquarters here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And when he talked to me about this opportunity, I said, what can I do? And here we are. So if any of you want an additional free 45-minute to hour call, we are happy to help. I've got a full team of accountants, a full team of attorneys. The 4 areas that Prime Corporate Services focuses on is entity structure, business credit development, tax preparation, tax filing, bookkeeping, and estate planning. So the reason that we wanted to be able to do this for you is if you are interested in speaking with our team, we're more than happy to talk to you about what you have in place currently. Whether you're an agent, a broker, an investor, how can you separate your liabilities from anything management related? How can you maximize on your taxes? And how can you show yourself as a legal business? So I would highly encourage everyone to take advantage of that hour consultation, protect your assets, save money in taxes, and show yourself as a legit business. So I'll drop a link for everybody. I don't know, Brian, is the link in there, or do you want me to get a link for you?
We can drop the link.
I put it in already. Everything's been put in.
Okay, awesome. But yeah,
Yes.
thank you for having me. We've structured over 150,000 businesses. We're currently getting our clients over $4 million in business credit a month. But more than anything, this is a gift for the free consultation to say, whether you already have your LLCs and your tax planning in place or not, if you would like us to review it, if you would like us to help you on the legal and the financial side, we're here to just bring a value add to you, Brian, Kevin, and the entire group as a whole. So thank you, Brian, and awesome presentation. That deal analyzer is amazing. So thank you for having me on here.
Absolutely. So guys, if you want, I know that it's you can scan YPN. We've given a code to all YPN members. So because the next question is, well, you know, how much is all this? $9.99. It's your cup of coffee a month. $9.99. Scan it, gives you unlimited access to all what we've shown you. So you can't get any cheaper than that. Can't have all the resources laid out in front of you. There's really nothing to do but go out there and become successful. It's all laid out in great detail, guys, for you. Again, all these workbooks, we're going to send this. We're going to send this via email. This workbook brings all the frameworks together. It's like a 50-page workbook that's going to bring all these frameworks together. This is coming over to you guys. We'll send this out via email. If it's okay by you guys, we can email this to you. Again, go in, download these workbooks. You got a problem with downloading the workbooks, email us, reach out to us. We'll get these out to you. We'll make sure all these workbooks are sent to Kevin at YPN, so he has them in case you want to reach out. But yeah, guys, you know, I'll stay here to answer any questions. I'll stop the screen share. But man, I hope you guys have, there's no deadline on the consultation. There's no deadline. No, this is, if you guys need us, we're here for you. There's no deadline. You're part of YPN. We want to see you guys, grow. So that's my goal, you know, is to see you guys be successful and see you guys grow. So we're here. There's no deadline on it for either myself or even Tommy with Prime. You know, we also have, for those who are local here, we've got Jonathan, our eviction attorney, is here. He also does consultations. You want to say hi, Jonathan? If you need a landlord tenant eviction attorney, you've got questions, Jonathan's got answers.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, YPN. My name is Jonathan Arias. I'm a landlord tenant attorney in Miami, and I assist individuals who want to maximize their profits in terms of protecting their assets with acquisition help, disposition help, and of course management, which is what we're talking about today.
Awesome.
I left my email in the chat, and feel free if you have any questions. I would love to talk to you about any questions you have regarding the management of your property or your client's properties.
His profile is also on the platform. Reach out to him, ask him questions, guys. Utilize it. You know, it's free. Utilize it. It's right there for you. So his email, we'll send out his email via email. When we send out an email and a thank you for attendance, all these individuals will be in that email. So don't worry. And again, you have 4 hours to play around and access anywhere on the site. So all you got to do is just reach out to him right there. Go see his profile, reach out to him, or even me. Well, we're all there for you. I think Tommy may have a profile. If not, he'll get one and reach out. Reach out, ask those questions, man. We are here to help you scale and grow your businesses, guys. That's what this is all about. And I will answer. We got some time, or we got like 5 minutes. I'll answer any questions. Does anyone have any questions that that I can answer? I'm not sure. Can you unmute? Can everyone unmute themselves?
Hopefully not all at once, but they can.
Not yet. Hopefully not all at once. But if you can unmute yourself, I will answer any question. Kevin, it looks like we.
Yeah.
I think we answered a lot in the chat as we went along.
Oh, did you? How to get more property management clients? I believe Lewis. Here's. I love to answer that before we leave. That's not the question. You should be asking yourself, how do I get more clients? How do I build the business system and the model to be able to handle more clients, Lewis? Because more clients might be your undoing. More clients might be your undoing. So right now, the focus should be on building the solid business model. If you're confident in your business model and your systems, and it's a lot of the frameworks that we talked about this afternoon, then we can talk about scaling and getting more clients. And that comes in the grade 8. I just spent 45 minutes on that grade 8, dealing with commercial brokers, local banks and lenders, local municipalities, housing authorities. How many times have you visited a housing authority and reached out to the Section 8 landlords? How many meetings have you had with lenders? How many meetings have you had with local banks? That's how you're going to get more clients. It's your network pipeline, filling your network pipeline. And then, again, guys, I don't want you to be misled. It's not about having more clients. Some of you, more clients might be your undoing. Your business is going to start leaking oil, the more clients. You can't handle the 5 you got. You start bringing in 10 turns into 15, and it becomes a nightmare. You got to focus on the business system. You got to focus on the models, okay? Then we worry about scaling. There's steps to it. We don't want to put that buggy before the horse, because that's how we shoot ourselves in the foot, if that makes sense, Lewis. But that was a great question, boss.
Brian, somebody was asking if they need a property management license.
If you're a licensed real estate professional, you do not. What you need to do as a licensed real estate professional, you'll want to run everything. You have to run things through a broker, okay? So you need a broker of record and everything that broker of record. If you're a current broker, then typically what the broker does is he or she will split her license. They'll have one for property management, one for sales. And then, of course, you'd want to make sure you don't commingle those funds. You want to have separate bank accounts, because if you start commingling funds, a creditor is going to look at that as a partnership, and you're going to weaken the credibility of any corporation that you created with Prime. So you want to make sure you have procedures manuals. You want to make sure you have operating agreements, all those things separately and written between those LLCs. So just to recap, a licensed real estate broker in Florida can split his or her license, okay? And then property management on one side, sales on the other. Is there, I think someone asked the question, is there value in a license? Absolutely.
No, CAM license.
A CAM license. I think there's value in any amount of education that you can receive and training that you can add, and one more notch you can add to your property management business. You know, is it vital? I wouldn't say it's vital or necessary. Any more that I didn't see in the chat, Miss Karen? Well, you guys have been awesome. I hope some of this information, it's tough to do in an hour. It's tough to do. 60 minutes or 90 minutes of 60 minutes of training on such a vast topic. But again, That's why we're going to follow up with you guys next Thursday. We'll do a Q&A, so we'll email you. And hopefully, if you don't have questions, you'll send some questions. And I'll be glad to, again, continuously answer those questions. We're going to be here for you guys and help you, any way we can. Thank you guys for allowing me to spend this time with you. Thank you for investing this time. And again, hopefully we've gotten something from it.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm going to be on my laptop.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I have a full purse.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm eating before I leave.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm sneaking out for showing.
We're YPN leaders.
Of course we're going to be creating content.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm signing up for classes.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm Cafecito obsessed.
I'm a YPN leader. Of course I'm going to crash the next happy hour.
If I'm on my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me?